Okay, going into part 47, this is going to be from Officer David Egan, and it's sent to Steve Walgie, and it is actually a forward message from Detective Baumhover. And it reads, "Hi folks, here is a quick summary of the organizations that provided me with records under exigency so that you may begin working on follow-up warrants. The official report will go into a little more detail of each, and I will provide you with that once approved. The data is too large to email, so I will burn it to a disk and get it to Dave, unless notated otherwise. The request for data went back to 8/12/18, company Amazon, and so this is going to be for their Alexa, their Echo, and it goes on to say requested info, audio content captured by that device, along with logs of activity on the device, identification number of the device, and any additional subscriber information." And what was received was very basic subscriber information and limited logs, no content. The company, Apple, request number 1, her Apple Watch. Account identifier, only had IMEI of iPhone, paired to a watch and her email. Request information, geolocation information tied to her Apple Watch. Subscriber info and IP logs. And what was received was the device identifiers to include the IMEI and cellular phone number, IP logs, account information for her Apple account tied to her email, follow-on request to this prompted by their suggestion was to provide all of the pictures saved to her iCloud account over the past 5 days to scour for data. They promptly provided that. Okay, again, company Apple, and this request number 2 is for his Apple Watch. And account identifier is serial number. Requested information, geolocation information tied to his Apple Watch, subscriber info, and IP logs. And what they received was the device identifiers, IP logs, account information for the watch. Company AT&T, request number 1, his and her cell records. So you see, his and her personal phones were through AT&T and not Verizon. So the Verizon phone that he had was actually his work phone. Requested information, CDR records for voice, SMS, and data to include all cell location data, any LOS reports, and subscriber information. And they received all requested above. Company AT&T request number 2, her Apple Watch cell records, requested information, CDR records for voice, SMS, and data to include all cell location data, NELOS reports, and subscriber information. Received all requested above. Company Facebook, account identifier Shanann. Requested info, subscriber information, last login location, login IPs, associated phone number, financial history, identities of all devices that have logged into her account to include the last date and time, whether or not those devices can be tied to a separate Facebook account, GPS location, history of the device. Received all requested above except GPS location history and accounts tied to devices used to log into her account. Said that data was unavailable. Separately, a preservation letter was submitted for Chris's deactivated account tied to his phone number. Company, Google, 2 accounts, same request. Account identifier, and it has, of course, Chris and Shanann's Gmail addresses. Requested info, subscriber information, last login location, login IPs associated with the accounts, and precise location information to include GPS. Received all requested above except location data as none existed. Company Verizon request number 1, his work. CDR records for voice, SMS, and data to include all cell location data, RTT reports, subscriber information, and a follow-on request to this original request. Text message content for the past 7 days. All requested above was received. Company Verizon request number 2, Nicole Kessinger's phone. And again, they request CDR records for voice, SMS, and data to include cell location data, RTT reports, subscriber information, and text message content for the past 7 days. Received. All requested above. So see, they only ask for the information from those 2, 7 days. Other. Anadarko has been providing GPS related to their corporate vehicles and, to my knowledge, have been doing it without requiring any court order or without the future promise of one. I was not the individual who originally spoke to them, but began to be copied on emails with GPS data. Unless I hear differently, I do not think you need to send them anything, especially since they have an active role as lease for the crime scene. Give me a call on my cell if you have any questions. Kevin Hoyland, FBI, Fort Collins. Okay, this is going to be notes from Officer Egan. Number 1, body disposal. Sunday, 5:07 p.m. Text. Chris to Cody Roberts. Monday to 319 site. Trip to 319 site. Number 2, house sale, ? Number 3, call to daycare, ? Post death. Number 4, shovel and truck, ? Other prep. Number 5, hiding pregnancy, / I'm not sure. Number 6, did / or didn't want unborn child. Number 7, Facebook shut down, 64. Facebook shut down by. Okay, moving on down. Number 8, affair. Number 9, Nikki conversations. Number 10, insurance ? Policy. Number 11, plans to leave marriage. Take that out. Number 12, he said, she said, want or unwanted child. Number 13, GPS ? Sunday. Okay, and this is going to be a map. This is more of Officer Egan's, and I'm assuming this is Chris and Shanann's home. Yeah, trail. Where the red is, that is their home. And this is as well. Okay, and again, Officer Egan, and he just has a map, and it's marked off where Saratoga Trail is. And this is going to be the board. And this is, you'll see all their little notes on this, roadside canvas, what time they did it, 2 locations as you see here in the middle, family, mama, there's many officer cams. So there's much scribbling on this board. Very interesting. There's Kevin, we just read. So yeah, this was the board that they were actually working with, trying to, pin some things down and make some kind of rhyme or reason. I see, Anadarko's name on there. So yeah. Okay, moving on down. This is going to be a supplemental report dated November the 8th, 2020. Officer Amanda Purcell. On 10/18/2018, Record Supervisor Purcell took custody of the return and inventory for the search warrant conducted on Shanann Watt's phone from Detective Baumover. The return and inventory was then mailed to the Weld County Clerk of the Court via UPS the same day. A copy of the return and inventory was placed in the case file. On 11/8/2018, Record Supervisor Purcell received a return and inventory for the search warrant and the return and inventory for the court order production of records for the Facebook Incorporated account associated with email address Both return and inventory forms were sent to the Weld County Clerk of the Court via UPS the same day. A copy of the return and inventory forms were placed in the case file. Nothing further. Purcell. Okay, this is a court order to Facebook, the Security Department, and the Custodian of Records. The court order, upon review of an affidavit filed by Detective Dave Baumover, a peace officer in support of the issuance of this order, hereby orders the production of the following records for which there is probable cause to believe are in your actual or constructive possession or control. And it says Facebook username. Your affidavit is requesting this warrant to obtain the following data from the user and profile. And what they're asking for is profile information, all known email addresses, date and time of account creation, login dates between June the 1st, 2018 and August the 15th, 2018, associated IP addresses for those logins, registered mobile number, GPS locations, verification of any publicity viewable portions of the account, verification of dates when privacy changes were made, status updates history, notes, mini feed, shares, wall post, events, video listing with name file, applications, Facebook message inbox, received messages with the contents, Facebook message outbox, sent messages with contents, user photo print and user comments, private messages, IP logs, neoprint information, photo print information, believed to be situated at the place known as, upon one or more grounds as set forth in Rule 41B Colorado Rules of Criminal Procedure, namely, 1. Is designed or intended for use, or which is or has been used as a means of committing a criminal offense or the possession of which is illegal, would be material evidence in a subsequently criminal prosecution. The names of persons whose affidavits have been taken in support hereof are Detective Dave Baumover, and I am satisfied that there is probable cause to believe that the property so described is located on the person, premises, or in the vehicle as described. You are therefore commanded to search forthwith the person, place, or vehicle above described for the property described at any time, day or night. The warrant shall be executed within 14 days of the date the warrant is issued. The return shall be made promptly and shall be accompanied by a written inventory of all property taken. You shall deliver to the person from whom the property is taken or from whom the premises or vehicle the property is taken a copy of this warrant together with the receipt for the property taken or in lieu thereof, to leave the copy and receipt at the place from which the property is taken, and to deliver to the issuing judge a written inventory of the property with the return of this warrant. All records shall be produced to Detective Baumover at the Frederick Police Department. And the judge absolutely did sign off on the warrant. Okay, this is an affidavit for court order for production of record. Your affidavit is a police detective for the town of Frederick Police Department and has gained the following information from reading reports and speaking to fellow officers, from reading the statements of the victim and witnesses, and through personal investigation. Okay, and this is absolutely going to be the same thing we read in Part 45. From beginning of August the 13th, when Nicole Atkinson made the 911 call, all the way through, telling the whole story the way Detective Baumover's seen that story. So that is definitely what that is. And this is going to be court order for production of the records for Facebook. And of course, Michael J. Rourke is asking when those records do come back that they will be sealed for the user account there. He's asking the courts to seal those. And the judge absolutely signed it, and he did grant that. Okay, this is going to be return and inventory court order for production of records. The undersigned peace officer has received from Facebook the following business records pursuant to an order issued by this court and served on the business. These records were received on November the 6th, 2018. The records received were Facebook business record for Christina Meacham. So it was Christina, C-R-I-S. This was her at one point, but it was made under Christina's email, I believe. That is exactly what that means. Yeah. And again, this is going to be a copy of what he sent Facebook and the court order where he was wanting all of the things we just went through for the Facebook username, that. And yes, that is just the same thing before the judge actually signed the order. And again, this is a copy of the same order, but this is the one the judge did sign off on. And another copy of the same. And this again is going to be October the 13th when Nicole Atkinson's. It starts there where she made the 911 call and it goes all the way through. There's several copies of this in here, but this one is one the judge did sign off on. And of course, right following is Michael Rourke. And there again, another copy of him asking the judge to have all of the records and documents sealed. Well, no, that's Michael. Yes. And here is where the judge did grant that. Those to be sealed. Yes. And this is where Detective Baumhover is just stating that he did receive from Facebook the Facebook business record for Christina Meacham. And again, there's the search warrant, another copy of that. Exact same thing. Return and inventory for search warrant. The undersigned officer being sworn on the 2nd day of October 2018, I duly executed the within search warrant by taking into my possession from the phone named in said warrant certain property, and the following is a true and complete and correct inventory of the property as taken. CBI extraction reports containing all recoverable forensic physical data. I further certify that I said inventory was made by me and that a copy of said warrant was left by me inside the evidence packaging of the pink and white in color Apple iPhone. The phone is secured at the Frederick Police Department's Evidence Department. The evidence tag number for this phone is, and it's signed Detective Baumhover and Amanda Purcell. And this will be Michael Rourke right behind it, asking for everything on that pink and white in color Apple iPhone to be sealed from the public. It's the same. He's asking the judge and telling the judge why he thinks all the records from Shanann's phone should be sealed from the public, because he says it may hinder future investigation and potentially taint a future jury pool. Okay, and this is the actual search warrant of Shanann's phone. And it reads, to any officer authorized by law to execute a search warrant in the county wherein the property is located. Detective Dave Baumhover, having this date, filed an affidavit for a search warrant in conformity with the provisions of Colorado Rules and Criminal Procedure, and for the following described property: a cellular phone, associated electronic storage media, devices, and associated data stored in the iCloud account linked to this phone, communication applications and associated databases and artifacts, SIM cards and SD cards, and for any and all data related to all forms of correspondence, electronic mail, voice messages, text, and instant messages, images, software applications, video recordings, sound or graphic files, and such evidence requires a complete physical forensic search and download of the phone's contents. believed to be situated at the place known as. The target phone is a pink and white in color Apple iPhone model. The phone is secured at the Frederick Police Department's Evidence Department. The evidence tag number for this phone is, upon one or more grounds as set forth in Rule 41B, Colorado Rules of Criminal Procedure, is designed or intended for use or which is or has been used as a means of committing a criminal offense or the possession of which is illegal and or would be material evidence in a subsequently criminal prosecution. The names of persons whose affidavits have been taken in support hereof are Detective Dave Baumover, and I am satisfied that there is probable cause to believe that the property so described is located on the person, premises, or in the vehicle above described. You are therefore commanded to search forthwith the person, place, or vehicle as described, for the property described at any time, day or night. This warrant shall be executed within 14 days of the date the warrant is issued. The return shall be made promptly and shall be accompanied by a written inventory of all property taken. You shall deliver to the person from whom the property is taken or from whom premises or vehicle the property is taken a copy of this warrant together with a receipt for the property taken in lieu of thereof, to leave the copy and receipt at the place from which the property is taken, and to deliver to the issuing judge a written inventory of the property with the return of this warrant, dated the 6th day of September 2018, and it is signed by the judge. Okay, and this is the affidavit again. However, this is also going to be the report of, again, Detective Dave Baumover, and again, from Nicole's 911 on August the 13th. Now remember, I'm not reading through all of this again. However, every bit of it is read through in part 45. If you haven't heard it yet and you would like to hear it, just click right here and you will be able to hear that. And so moving right on through that, as you see, the judge did sign off on that. Okay, and this is to Twitter. This is the court order to Twitter. The court order upon review of an affidavit filed by Detective Dave Baumover, a peace officer, in support of the issuance of this order, hereby orders the production of the following record, for which there is probable cause to believe you in your actual or constructive possession or control. Same thing that that it says on all of them. This is what he is requesting: the warrant to obtain the following data from the user and profile. The profile information, all known email addresses, date and time of account creation, login and dates between June 1st and August the 15th, 2018, associated IP addresses for those logins, the registered phone number to the account, GPS locations, verification of any publicity viewable portions of the account, verification of dates when privacy changes were made, status updates history, notes, mini feed shares, wall posts and tweets, events, video listing with file name, applications, Twitter message inbox, received messages with contents, Twitter message outbox, sent message with contents, user photo print and user comments, private messages, IP logs, neoprint information, photo print information, and cookies. Upon one or more grounds as set forth in the Rule 41 Colorado Rules of the Criminal Procedure, the names of the person whose affidavits have been taken in support hereof are Detective Baumover, and this is the same thing we've read numerous times above in these search warrants and court orders. The judge did grant it and signed off on it the 11th day of October 2018. And again, of course, they have to put the whole report of detectives in the court order. They need what they need. An evidence tag on tag number the second cellular phone, which is a black and gray Apple iPhone, with this phone number was secured in evidence tag number. Both cellular phones were secured in the Frederick Police Department's evidence station. A forensic examination of Watts's personal cell phone was on September the 19th, 2018. Indicated he has a deactivated Facebook account. Watts's account was active until approximately the week of August the 6th, 2018, when Watts reportedly chose to deactivate his Facebook account. Further information revealed Watts also had a Twitter account named Chris Watts with the username of @WattsTastic. Watts's profile page indicates the account was activated in August of 2016. Evidence derived from Watts's Twitter records would offer insight into the relationship Watts had with Shanann, Nikki Kessinger, and may identify other associates with potential witnesses. It may also provide information into his state of mind and the nature of his relationship in the months leading up to the murders. Your affidavit previously obtained legal warrants to complete forensic examination of both cell phones. Production of records for the two phones Chris was known to possess from June the 1st, 2018 through August the 15th, 2018, and legal warrants for Chris's deactivated Facebook page. Evidence derived from Chris's Twitter records would offer insight into the relationship Watts had with Shanann and may identify other associates and potential witnesses. It may also provide information into his state of mind and the nature of his relationship in the months leading up to the murders. Based upon the above information, your request, court issue a court order for the production of records for the following records related to Twitter username, twitter.com/WattsTastic. Profile information, all known email addresses, date and time of account creation, login for dates between June the 1st, 2018 and August the 15th, 2018, associated IP addresses for those logins, registered mobile number, GPS locations, verification of any publicly viewable portions of the account, verification of dates when privacy changes were made, status update history, notes, mini feed shares, wall posts, tweets, events, video listing with file name, applications, Twitter messages, inbox, received messages with contents, Twitter message outbox, sent messages with contents, user photo print and user comments, private messages, IP logs, neoprint information, photo print information, and cookies, believed to be situated at the place known as Twitter. And of course, it has Detective Baumover as well as the judge granting that. And of course, following that would be Michael Rourke asking for everything they get from Twitter to be sealed. That is dated on the 11th day of October 2018. And of course, the judge did grant and sign off on everything on the Twitter account WattsTastic to be sealed. And this is going to be a supplemental report of Detective Baumover's. And this is going to be Betty, the victim, witness, or complainant, and also victim, witness, or complainant is David. The following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this report is not indicative of when the investigation occurred. On October the 26th, 2018, after reviewing the additional surveillance video clips obtained from Nate on October the 24th, 2018, I noticed what appeared to be lights from a car leaving the driveway of 2821 Saratoga Trail, which is the residence located directly west of the Watts residence. This occurred immediately after Watts walked down his driveway and entered his Anadarko work truck that was parked on the street. At approximately 10:50 hours, I met with the residents there, David and Betty. Initially, I met with David at his front door and asked him about the car that appeared to leave his driveway at approximately 5:15 hours on 8/13. David said he normally leaves for work at around 6:30 to 7 a.m. and on 8/13/18 he left at around 7 a.m. Initially, David said no one else in the household left before him. I asked David if he saw Chris that morning, to which he stated he had not, but offered information about how Chris had parked his truck in the driveway several times recently when he normally. I told David a neighbor's security camera showed a car that appeared to leave his driveway at around 5:15 hours. David said the car was likely his wife, as she normally leaves around 5 a.m. to 5:15 a.m. to work out at the gym. Upon speaking with Betty, I learned she left that morning 8:13 at 5:15 a.m. and noticed Chris's truck with the lights on. She thought it was unusual because they're typically not on that early. Betty offered information about a barbecue they had around 1900 hours on Sunday evening, 8/12, and never heard or saw Bella or Celeste during that time. She did see Watts a couple of times as he was cooking something on the grill, but the girls never appeared when he walked outside. My meet with Betty and David ended shortly thereafter. Nothing further. Detective Dave Bomover. So, very interesting. This is on 10/26. We also do know that they went back and interviewed Nate as well on Halloween shortly thereafter. But Betty says, yeah, that was her that left that morning, that was caught on that camera. Okay, here's another Detective Dave Bomover, November the 13th, 2018. The following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this report is not indicative of when the investigations occurred. Upon reviewing the report generated by Police Clerk Patricia Pat Cochran on August the 29th, 2018, I noted she documented Nicole Atkinson called the Frederick Police Department directly and spoke with Pat about a well-being check of Shanann. Pat's report indicated Nicole's call came in at around 9 a.m. on August the 13th. Upon reviewing other reports, specifically the report documenting Nicole's interview and also the CAD dispatch notes, I found Pat's reported time of 9 a.m. inconsistent with other reported times of approximately 13:30 hours. And of course, that is 1:30 p.m. I asked Pat about the details of her conversation with Nicole. She said it was shortly after arriving for work at 8 a.m. when she received a call from Nicole requesting the check well-being, and that Nicole stated she was in front of her friend Shanann's house because she was unable to contact her. Pat said at that point she transferred Nicole directly to the Weld County Dispatch Center to generate a call for service. CAD notes indicate this occurrence at 1:36 p.m. on 8/13/2018. In a follow-up discussion, Pat indicated she may be mistaken about the 9 a.m. call time. Nothing further. So that's really confusing, and a lot of people talks about that a whole lot, saying, her first phone call to them was like at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then when she was actually put on hold and, put over to the dispatch center, either she hung up and didn't go through with talking to them until later when she called back at 1:30, or I don't know, maybe the call wasn't even made. This lady Pat says she could have been mistaken, so, but that's a big thing to be mistaken about. It seems like you would remember that, especially when she was so adamant that it happened just shortly after she got to work. It's very odd. Very odd, and a very big gap right there of information. Now, I know it would probably be relatively simple to check Nicole's phone records, but obviously they didn't think it was important enough to even worry with it. So, yeah. Okay, this is going to be another supplemental report, and this is going to be Detective Dave Baumover, November the 14th, 2018. So this is like 5 days before the plea hearing. This is going to be David Cologne. Okay, this is Chris's friend and neighbor. The following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this report is not indicative of when the investigation occurred. On October the 16th, 2018, I received via email from DA Investigator Dan Boyle a letter that was sent to Chris through the Weld County Jail. The letter's envelope displayed a return name and address of Dave Cologne. It should be noted that D. Cologne is David and was interviewed by CBI agent on August the 15th. Upon review, the typed letter David sent, I discovered some inconsistencies in statements that David made regarding Chris. I contacted David via telephone and asked him about the letter. He confirmed that he sent the letter in an attempt to arrange a face-to-face visit with Chris. David explained the jail told him he would have to write Chris a letter and be accepted by Chris to be placed on a visitor list. David said he wanted to ask Chris why he didn't reach out to him personally, as he would have helped him deal with his problems. David also said he was confused about everything and was hoping to get some answers from Chris to help him cope personally and perhaps gain some closure. I asked David about his regarding Shanann being overbearing and that he, David, had told CBI agents there's no way Chris had done anything with the disappearance of Shanann and the girls. David said when CBI agents interviewed him, he told them the same thing. David describes their friendship as neighborhood friends, but didn't get together much because they were in different worlds. Because his kids, David's, are older than Bella and Celeste were. The phone interview was recorded and spanned approximately 10 minutes. Nothing further, Detective Dave Baumover. Okay, just for the record, do have this interview, this recorded interview on the channel, and I will link it at the end of this video in case you've never heard it. It is kind of interesting, to say the least. He is a neighbor. So, yeah, if you've never heard it, and many people haven't, because I think that is one of the interviews that had been redacted from the Discovery. So I don't think that's in the Discovery any longer. And this is going to be the letter that Dave wrote Chris. This is the envelope, of course. And this is the typed letter. And I'm not actually going to read this because, as I say, I've already made a video about this. And so, yeah, they're going to be linked at the end. Actually, I'll put it right here as well if you want to hear this one, because it's actually 2 videos, this one and also the interview. So this one with the letter I will put right here. So just click right there and you will see that video. And if you want to hear the interview, I will link it at the end. Okay, this is going to be another supplemental report. Dave Baumover, dated November the 14th, 2018. The victim, witness, or complainant is Addie Maloney. The following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this report is not indicative of when the investigations occurred. Subsequent to receiving and reviewing the autopsy reports of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, I noticed Shanann's BAC level reported to be a 0.128. The report also indicated ethanol can be a product of decomposition or degradation or biological samples. To obtain more information regarding what Shanann may have consumed on the evening of August the 12th, I contacted Addie Maloney, as she also accompanied Shanann at the group dinner in Scottsdale, Arizona. Addie said the group was at dinner for a couple of hours due to flight delays, a bout of Phoenix, and that Shanann ate approximately half of a chicken salad and part of some crab dip and Brussels sprout appetizers. I asked Addie, based on her experience, how much alcohol either Shanann or Chris consumed on business trips. Addie said their consumption was minimal and that she has never seen either one of them intoxicated. I asked Addie about what Shanann drank the night of August the 12th, to which she replied Shanann had only water. Addie added they went out for meals several times while in Arizona, and Shanann drank only water at each setting. Addie said Shanann wasn't a soda or tea drinker and consumed no alcohol during the Arizona or previous June 2018 San Diego trips because she was pregnant. Upon reviewing the Watts' Vivint Home security data obtained by legal warrant, I observed via a doorbell camera recording Shanann walked from the street to her front door at 1:48 a.m. on August the 13th, 2018. Shanann was carrying her suitcase in one hand and her phone in the other, and she walked steadily the entire time. Based on my training and experience, Shanann did not appear to be intoxicated, which would have been apparent based on her minimal drinking history. The Vivint security system also reported a living room motion sensor activation when she entered the house, but no other activations were recorded until later that morning. I reviewed Officer Coonrod's body cam video footage captured upon his initial entry into the house on August the 13th, and I noted there were no visible containers or glassware consistent with an alcoholic beverage. Additionally, upon my arrival at approximately 14:35 hours and entry into the Watts residence, I personally noticed the absence of containers of glassware in the home, with the exception of several unopened beer bottles in a basement refrigerator. It should be noted I did not disclose to Addie why I was inquiring about what food and drink Shanann consumed on the evening of August the 12th, 2018. Nothing further, Detective Baumover. Okay, we're going to stop right here with part 47. When we return with part 48, we will be going into the case master report. Thank you all for listening. I hope you've learned something new. We would really appreciate a thumbs up, and if you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And until next time, this is Unjustified.